Welcome to Fairy Stamper. This is Annie Collins. Today we'll be creating this Christmas card. Let's go with the products we use. From the fairy hugs, we're using the Leaping Reindeer, which is FHS222. I love the horns on this reindeer. From Lavinia stamps, we'll be using the sentiment called Believe, and that's LAV271. This is an A2 card, so I have an A2 card base, which is 110 pound in white, and gold cardstock, gold foil cardstock, and blue, medium blue cardstock, and those are both 65 pounds. From VersaFine Clair, I'm going to use Pinecone, VersaMark Ink, and Distress Oxide and Faded Jeans. We're also going to bring in some holographic embossing powder, and that's from Reindeer, as well as from Reindeer some detail gold embossing powder. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to stamp on this blue cardstock, which I had mentioned is 65 pounds. It's like a medium blue. I'm going to go ahead and put it in my stamping platform. Now I did cut this down a little bit. I cut it down to 4 by 5 1/4. So I have a nice little frame of the gold foil paper showing underneath. I'm going to go ahead and get my anti-static powder onto my blue card base here. And I'm using a kabuki makeup brush to spread my embossing powder, my anti-static powder onto my cardstock. I find it to be much easier than those little embossing anti-static tools. Alright, so I'll go ahead and place my reindeer down onto my cardstock where I want it. And I'm going to go ahead and get the VersaFine Clair and Pinecone. And I'm going to ink up our reindeer. I'm going to ink it up nice here. And since this is a solid image, I'm going to stamp it twice. Now there is some detail on this reindeer, white little cutout, little details on the body to add like highlight. So as you can see, I'm going to ink it up again and stamp it once again, pulling in my dry eraser here to get nice even coverage. So now that I have it how I want it, I'm going to remove it. I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of paper. This is just copy paper. And I'm going to pour some of this holographic embossing powder on top. This is clear, so the brown will come through, but it leaves a nice shimmer to it. So I'm going to bring in my heat tool, and I'm going to start heating it from the bottom. Because of that little glittery shimmer, I don't want it to fly off. And you'll notice that it goes from a dull to a nice deep color, and it still has all that beautiful sparkle. Once it's all melted, I'll give you a quick look here, a little close up. See how that shimmer is so pretty. Okay, so I'm going to place our card panel back down so we can stamp our sentiment. For our sentiment, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of washi tape to hold it, as well as my magnets, because the cardstock did warp a little bit with the heating, which is normal. I'm going to place my sentiment towards the bottom because it's a nice thick sentiment. I'm just wiping off my board here, and yes, I moved my sentiment. I'm going to go ahead and reposition it, put a little more washi on the ends, and go ahead and pick it up. Now for our sentiment, I'm going to go ahead and use our VersaMark ink. This is a clear sticky ink. It's perfect for embossing. You can use any sticky ink that you may have, or VersaFine Clair inks are great for embossing because they stay wet longer. But I just went ahead and used my VersaMark ink here. Again, I'm going to do it twice because this is a nice solid sentiment, and I want to make sure I fill in all the areas. Press it here with my dry eraser. Now that I have it all filled in, and do you see that little scratchy marks? It looks like it's distressed. I love it because it looks perfect for the reindeer. It looks like he's swooshing through the sky. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put our gold embossing powder on here, and it's going to look dull at first, and then once you heat it, it'll start getting all shiny. Let me quickly close this so I don't spill it on my desk. Again, I'm going to heat from underneath. This is my preferred method. You can do how you like, and as you can see, as it starts to heat up, it gets nice and shiny. I'm going to go ahead and make sure it's all completely melted. Once it is, we can continue with our card. Now you have all that shimmer on our reindeer and the gold on our Believe. All right, I'm going to bring in my stencil mat here, and I'm going to bring in the dress Oxide and faded jeans. I'm just going to go around the edge here, just so that it brings in your focal point to the reindeer and the sentiment, and also to convey that it's more of a night sky than a day sky. But I'm not filling it all the way in, just the edges, sort of giving us that vignette look that we all tend to like. Just giving a nice little puff around, and I got a little bit streaky right here, so I'm going to blend that out a little bit more. And if I get any of this ink on any of the embossed areas, which I do a little bit here on the bottom, then I'm going to use a paper towel